So you want to learn some shoulder flexibility exercises. Well, today we're going to figure out whether you can fix dysfunctional shoulders. We're also going to answer a couple of really good questions that have come in from the Movement Mastermind tribe and talk about a massive offer that you guys are going to get next week. Big opportunity to work with us and grab some really cool stuff at a massively, massively discounted price. All that and more coming up right after this. We are the gym that teaches people how to move instead of just exercise, because we believe that health is about performance, not just body image. We're back. All right, we've got 2 days of massive shows today. We're going to be hitting the gym floor. We're going to be demonstrating some really, really good exercises, some movement hacks that we've used to accelerate people's progress. Today is shoulder day. And it's a good day for Rad because Rad's got a shoulder injury.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I won't be demonstrating anything today. It's all going to be yarn.
Talk a little bit about your shoulder injury to get things started.
Well, I got an MRI yesterday, so I'll know a lot more about it on Friday.
Oh, yeah?
It's getting better at a good rate. I mean, 2 weeks ago I couldn't lift my arm up more than here. Now I've got full range of motion, but it does hurt when I get above my head, and I'm definitely not in a position where I can train properly on it again. So I'm still doing rehab work, and I don't like not knowing what is going on in my body. I want to know exactly what it is so that I can work on it and fix it, because it's my career.
Yeah, that's right. So and that brings on a really good point. You know, if you're not assessing, you're only guessing. And so Rad's gone, and you've seen 2 professional practitioners now, one of whom we've got on the show tomorrow for our hip flexibility show. And you've also seen one of the best physios in the country here, arguably the best physio in the country here, a number of times. And you've gone and got an MRI. That's what we call assessing, guys. You know, like you can't use Dr. Google when it's your body. Like, there's only so much that we know, and we are huge fans of, like, things go wrong from time to time, and we'll talk about the catalyst to Rad's injury in just a sec. But you know, you're not going to be performing optimally all the time, and when things go wrong, it is so important to have a network of professionals around you that you can leverage to get that insight, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's not talk about my injury too much, though. We've got a pretty big show. Let's get into it.
Well, I know, but I wanted to just tell them how it happened.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Oh, you want how it happened?
How did it happen?
I was just training at home, working on the planche, and I took too much rest between sets. So my body completely cooled down because I had my family there and I wasn't really thinking.
Distracted?
I was distracted, and then I went back in to do another set of max effort, and my body was completely cold, and yeah, I did whatever I've done, which I'm going to find out soon.
So, so that our listeners and viewers and tribe can learn from your mistake, what's the key lesson that someone should take away from that?
When you start your workout, don't let anything interrupt you.
Yeah,
you've got to get through your workout with focus, and you can't mess around. You can't let distractions take hold. You have to just, once you're warmed up, if you cool down, you've got to warm up again.
Yep.
You're going to do another warm up.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. Absolutely. All right. Well, look, let's just paint a little bit of a picture here on our experiences and a lot of the philosophy around shoulders, because the shoulder is one of those joints that you can, like, true strength cannot be achieved in the absence of mobility, and one of the biggest potential upsides that you'll ever experience is in the shoulders. We're covering the hips and shoulders over 2 days because these are the 2 areas that we see the most compromise, the most issue, and the most potential upside when you open them and unlock them. The shoulders in particular can really put you on a bum steer because often the symptoms don't really correlate with the cause at all. And because it's such a versatile joint, there's a lot going on in the shoulder. A lot of not very good practitioners or coaches and trainers, they'll say, they'll identify you can do a bunch of tests and figure out which tendon is sore, which tendon is symptomatic, but that's often got nothing to do with what caused the tendon to become injured or an issue. And I guess the big take home of today's show is to assess your posture first, because if your posture is compromised, then it's going to heavily affect the way your shoulder operates, particularly the rotator cuff, which is designed, it's a series of tendons, 4 tendons to be exact, that are designed to create a force coupling around the top of the humerus, the ball of the head of the humerus, to stabilize the humerus in that joint, because the shoulder joint is a very shallow joint. I've heard physiotherapists describe it similar to a golf ball on a golf tee. You know, you've got this very small little surface that the ball sits on that's much like the head of the humerus in here. And this is the area that we see most people go wrong. Coaches will prescribe rotator cuff strengthening exercises because of an inflamed rotator cuff, or rotator cuff stretches because of a restricted rotator cuff. But 9 times out of 10, we've found that it is actually something that's related to the spine, the thoracic spine being locked up, or the pecs, the bicep, the long head of the bicep brachii, and the lats pulling forward because they're either overdeveloped or too short. And that pulling forward creates an environment for the shoulder that's compromised. It cannot operate properly, and you lose the synergistic movement, particularly when you try and go overhead, which is evidence when you try and press, when you try and do handstands, press handstands, sometimes even planches and levers. So today we're going to go out and show you a couple of really, really good hacks that we've found have been super useful for us and for our tribe to release that area of the thoracic spine, and also to decompress the spine and stretch out the phasic muscles here that can compromise posture. Should we hit the gym floor?
Yeah, for sure.
Let's do it. Richie's just going to get set up, and then we will head out. How you going? You done? Let's do it.
All right, so the first things that we're going to do is work on what you really need to understand with when you're trying to free up the shoulders is you've got to go through a series of steps. You have to start with a couple of things that need to be freed up before the next thing. So, and what we're going to start with is the spine. So Yanni's going to grab these back balls here, and he's going to put them basically on either side of his spine. So the spine's going to go down the middle. And we're just working on the thoracic spine, which is the vertebrae that are connected to the ribs. So what he's going to do is lay down like this, and then he's going to put his arms down by his side, and he's going to take a deep breath. Okay, so one big deep breath. I've got to get out of the way for the next one. And he's going to move his arms up to a Y position above his head. So now his arms come up to a Y position, and he takes a big breath. And then we're going to do an M, and then a C, and then an A. No one got that one. Now he's going to cross his arms across his body like this, okay, and take a deep breath, and that's the hardest one. That's the one that's most intense, okay? You can see he's taking his time, and now what he's going to do is he's going to move to the next vertebra. So he moves about an inch down, just a small amount, very small, like literally 1 inch, and then he does the same thing again. So we won't go through the whole process because you've got 12 vertebrae that make up the thoracic spine, and we want to basically do that whole routine for each one of those vertebrae. And what this is doing is it's basically, Richard, if you just look at this here, if you think of your vertebrae being stacked on top of each other like this, you're just trying to create movement in them like that. You can also do what Yanni's doing there. You can do flexion and extension over the ball. This is, it's pretty aggressive using back balls like this. If this is too much for you or you don't have back balls, you can also do the same thing with a foam roller. But with the foam roller, it is different. It's not targeted as well, but it does still work. So it's just the same thing, just using the foam roller like this.
Just grab one of the big ones, 2 of these, so we can show them that.
There's all different sizes of these. Yanni's saying, he's telling me to get the big ones. So there's we've got these big ones as well. So there's a whole bunch of different ones here. It all just depends on you know, how hardcore you are. The bigger they are, the more intense it's going to be. So now we're going to move on to the pec minor. So we're going to grab this physio ball here, and Yanni's going to lay down on his stomach, and the pec minor actually attaches to the 3rd, 4th and 5th rib. So it's right on the side. If you, Yanni, if you just go down, Richie, if you film me here, the way you get it is on your collarbone here, you walk your finger across the collarbone until you get to this little bony bit at the end, and then go down about 2 inches and dig in, and that should be about where the 3rd rib is. So then from there you go, it's like 3rd, 4th, 5th rib. So it's like this little area here, and you can see Yanni working it there. It's right on the edge. If you Google pec minor, you'll see it. It's a very small muscle, and it connects from the 3rd, 4th and 5th rib and goes up onto the top of the scapula at the back. So when it's tight, what happens is it pulls your scapula forward and really you know, assists in this forward rounding of the shoulders, which is not what we want. So you can do this for you know, several minutes on each side, just working around like what Yanni's doing. I also like to, when I find a spot that I feel pain and tightness in, I just sit there and hold it, which is really, really good.
And you can also do stretches like this?
You can also do stretches like what Yanni's doing, where he's rotating against the ball. What's important to understand about the pec minor it's very different to the pec major for stretching. With the pec major, the way you stretch, you basically want the arm to be pulled back like this. With the pec minor, that's not what you want. What you want is, rather than the end of the arm being pulled back, you want the entire arm to be pulled back. So it's more like from here, you want the chest to be pushed forward. Okay, so so it's a shearing force, Yanni's saying. Yeah. Now, so that's for the pec minor. Then we go into the lat. Okay, and you release the lats as well. The lats are an internal rotator of the humerus, so they do create problems if they're too tight. So we want to loosen up the lats here as well. So you can see Yanni is going. Yeah, it's the insertion of the lat. So he's going over the shoulder joint because the lat inserts. This is one of the very, very few things that we use the physio ball on where we actually roll over a joint. It's not often that you roll over a joint with over one of the major joints like the shoulder or elbow or knee or hip. There's a few muscles that you do it with, and this is one of them. So
for the lat,
yep.
The rest of the lat.
And then you use a foam roller like this to go down the meat of the lat like that, because the lat goes right down and connects onto the lumbar spine. So yeah, there you go. So that's the lat. And then, so now you've done all your releasing. Now we move up into, you can actually, so he's going to do a bicep stretch now. So from here he's going to lay down on the ground and his arm is going to come out at a 45-degree angle to his body. So Yanni's actually twisted badly there. You're probably not getting the best bicep stretch there, are you? Is that better now?
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Okay. So it's important that your arm is at a 45-degree angle to the body. You don't want your arm at a 90-degree angle. And if you look at the angle of his hand, just straighten your fingers out. It's like he's tipping a cup out. That's really important. And the line from the hand to the shoulder is firmly on the ground. What Yanni's doing is a really advanced version of it by lifting his arm up. If you do a basic version, bring your foot over here, Yanni. Sometimes we forget what it's like being flexible, but the basic version, for most of you, that's going to be enough. Just by twisting. And it's very important that the shoulder is pushed into the floor. And also what he's doing is that you can't see is he's trying to drag his shoulder towards me, and that creates traction where it's like it's capsulating the joint. It's like you're trying to pull the humerus and tease it out of the joint. So it's yeah, that really helps with the stretch. So that's the bicep stretch there. Now, by the way, guys, if you want to know how to do all of this properly and have a routine that doesn't just cover the shoulders but the whole body, that's what the 18-minute stretching routine is. And I'm just going to drop that in here because I get that we're doing this at a very fast pace here. We've only got 5 minutes left on this show, but if you want to be taught how to do this stuff properly with higher level tutorial videos, jump onto our deal next week and get the 18-minute stretching routine. So now Yanni's going to come and hang. So first we do a less aggressive hang, which is basically just hanging like this. So you're just going to grab onto a chin-up bar, a set of rings, anything that you can hang on to. It's best if your feet are off the ground, but we'll show you what to do if your feet are on the ground in a second. And you can see he's just hanging, just completely relaxing and allowing gravity to open up his shoulders and get right in there. Come over to this. What's that? Oh, it's dead. Yeah. What a shame. Okay, guys, so the camera's died, unfortunately, so we're going to have to come inside. It's okay. We got through most of everything, so just switch back to this camera, Richie. We got through almost everything. The only thing that we didn't get through there was we were going to show you some hanging on the rings, where you can have your feet on the ground, and basically if you have your feet back behind you so your body goes into an arch, and then you go from side to side, so it really
easily just swap one of these cameras.
So it really pulls your well, yeah, okay.
You want to do it?
Well, sure, if you want it, yeah.
Let's just quickly swap.
Okay, so Yanni, we're going to swap one of the cameras over, and we're going to jump out there and show you how to do this stuff. So sorry about that, guys. Our gimbal camera died. Technical issues. Okay. All right, here we go. Okay, camera 2. We're on. So we're going to come out here now, and basically... Okay, so what Yanni's going to show here now is a single arm hang. So from here, where you've got your feet supported like this, and he's basically just rotating like this and rotating all the way around. So you're just going as far as you can in each direction. So obviously you need to have, this needs to be at a height where you can get your feet onto the ground or onto an object below you to be able to make this one work.
Another option is obviously just to pull a...
Yeah, you get a bench. If you just get a bench...
We've got it set up so we can do it.
Yeah.
And then you want to do the ring one here? Or
no, do it up here. Yeah. So when you do this one with the rings, what I find is it's best to have the rings set up roughly at about your chin height. So these are good for Yanni here. So you have the bottom of the ring roughly at about your chin height or collarbone height. And if you watch from here now, when he does this, at that height, his feet will be on the ground, but his hips won't be on the ground. That's what you actually want, because we're going beyond just a shoulder stretch here, and we're stretching the entire anterior chain. And when you do this, if you tense your glutes and push your hips into the ground, it really comes down into your hip flexors, which is really good. But it's pulling the spine right into extension and also pulling the shoulders up into flexion. And then what you can do is rotate to the side as well. So if he pulls with this hand and lets this arm relax, and you can rotate right through to really bring the stretch into the lat. So now he's got the stretch on the right lat here, and then when he goes the other way, it's on the left lat. You don't go too far, because if you go too far, you lose the stretch. You'll go beyond a point where you stop feeling the stretch. And this is like, we do this one last because this is the most aggressive. And if you do have shoulder impingement here, if you've got impingement of the rotator cuff or symptoms in the rotator cuff, and you haven't done everything that we've done, then you run the risk of really aggravating your condition. So this is an awesome thing to do, but we do recommend that you warm up before you do it. And that's it, guys. That's not it. That's all that we're going to show you guys today on the show. That's a really good routine that you can do on your own to help dramatically increase the mobility in your shoulders and correct poor posture and relieve the impingement that can be causing issues in the rotator cuff.
Just quickly flick over to We on?
We are on.
Yep. Okay, guys. So, shoulders today. That is the take home. The key take home is the symptom, usually somewhere in the rotator cuff, is not always directly linked to the cause, and it can really throw you off. It can really bum steer you and send you in the wrong direction when you're trying to figure things out. Assessing is critical, and if you have some sort of a tear to the labrum or one of the tendons through there, doing what Rad's done, getting an MRI, getting professionals to look at it who know how to diagnose this stuff. The two guys that Rad's had looking at it, one of them's coming on the show tomorrow to help us out with the hip stuff that we're going to be doing. He is amazing. And then also we've got another great network here who's one of the top physios for the sporting teams in Australia, Australian Football League. Unfortunately, he can't make the show. I was hoping that he could, but he couldn't. So that's really, really important. The second thing is you want to make sure that your posture in your upper body is good. And some people will be born genetically with compromised posture, you can always make it better than what it is right now. There is always room for improvement. You might not be able to achieve optimal levels, but you know, changing your environment, how much you sit, how much you stretch, how much you do a routine like that will absolutely give you potential upside and free up and unlock those shoulders. Remember this, true strength cannot be achieved in the absence of mobility. If you have a compromised joint, you will never, ever, ever be able to achieve your true potential. Tune in tomorrow. We're doing an epic hip show and we're going to give you more information about our massive flash sale that we're doing Tuesday next week. It's 72 hours.
No, Monday in America.
Monday in America,
Tuesday in
sorry.
Australia.
Tuesday in Australia, Monday in America, goes live at midnight.
No, it'll go live in the morning.
In the morning.
At about 6 a.m.
6
in
a.m.
Pacific time.
Pacific Standard
and it'll
Time.
be finished on Wednesday at midnight.
Yeah, and I can tell you right now that it's a $550 worth of value for $39? $49.
$39.
$39. Holy shit, what are we doing? We're giving away a lot. Anyway, let's go, people. Tomorrow we're wrapping up, big week wrap, and we're having a special guest on the show, physical therapist Tom Cartwright. He's a good friend of ours, and we're going to be doing everything to do with hips and how to overcome leg length discrepancy. We promised it. It's coming. See you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow, everyone.
We are the gym that teaches people how to move instead of just exercise, because we believe that health is about performance, not just body image.